Hello there, Steve. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very well, thanks very much.
Now, we've got you on the show because we're going to talk about the re-release of the album Blast, which you first released in 1989. But I can't have you on without talking about the Frankie years.
Oh, no, that's true. Everyone knows me from Frankie Goes to Hollywood, so that's fine.
It really was massive, wasn't it? You guys did something that only Jelly and the Pacemakers had done before you, and that was the first 3 singles all going to number 1, all massive hits.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit run-of-the-mill now.
Yeah,
but we also had the double whammy of the second single when that was at number 1. The first single came back into the chart.
And you were at 1 and 2, weren't you?
Yeah, 2 Tribes at number 1 and Relax at number 2. So we were like bursting the banks of the Guinness Book of Records. You know, it was like, what's going on here? You know,
it's also quite ironic that here we are talking to you now on a corporation that quite famously banned you for a good period of time.
I know, the cheek of it.
How dare I even call you up?
Yeah.
Did that really come as a shock to you when that happened?
On one level it did, because BBC Radio 1, you know, the national station, had already played the song about 90 times. We'd done Peel sessions, various version, Kid Jensen session, and we'd even appeared on Top of the Pops, like the week before.
Yeah.
They decided to ban the record, which was amazing, really.
But that really that helped it, didn't it? I think that gave it more exposure, didn't it?
Yeah, it gave us a lot of publicity and kudos as far as, you know, being a rebellious sort of rock band, and, you know, it worked very well in other territories outside the UK, and also all the commercial stations got to play the record, while the BBC sort of missed out.
And then, of course, the third single came along with The Power of Love, which was a massive hit, you know, as well, a number 1. And then what I love about these tracks is they've been re-released and remixed, and they've been hits all over again on more than one occasion. That very rarely happens with a song.
Yeah, I think The Power of Love especially has been a hit 3 times, I think, if my memory serves me right. Well, it's amazing that it has sort of stood the test of time, and, you know, you've just got to praise the Lord about that, haven't you? You know.
Yeah, because I'm guessing you can't give a reason as to why it happened. Back then, you would have never foresaw it happening, would you?
Well, no. I mean, we weren't the most critically lauded band of the 80s. We were certainly, we probably sold the most records in a way, but we weren't sort of favourites with the likes of the NME and the serious music press. We were seen as kind of, you know, this conceptual creation rather than, you know, a genuine sort of band that had come and paid its dues. I don't know why that was the case, but, you know, it's just one of those things.
Your solo songs, which I've always thought was brilliant. I bought Blast when it first came out in '89 on vinyl, which is quite crackly now, I've got to say. What made you... Well, first of all, let's talk about you making that album, because going it alone after being with your mates for so long, what was that like?
Well, it was interesting. You know, I had to sort of get to grips with computer programming, software, and, you know, I'd always written songs on an acoustic guitar, and some of the songs were written like that, but everything became very groove based, and you had to have, you know, dance music. I felt was the wave of the future, you know, for me, for that pop moment. And I worked with some great people like Dan Hartman, who wrote Relight My Fire and Instant Replay. He helped me pull the whole thing together. There was pressure, but it was liberating because I didn't have 4 other people to consider as far as the musical direction.
Yeah, it was your project.
It was my project. I mean, I even got Brian May to play a guitar solo on Love Train, which I think is the most bizarre thing.
Was a great coup, wasn't it?
He just happened to be in the studio at the time and was a really friendly chap.
So why are we re-releasing it then all these years later? What's the reason behind this?
Well, you know, it all started last November when Frankie Goes to Hollywood Greatest Hits came out, and just, you know, people... A certain ad on television seemed to trigger it. I don't think I should really talk about the ad, but it had an 80s theme. I don't know if you remember.
It was the Virgin one.
Are you allowed?
We
are we
can
allowed
say
to
it.
Oh,
We
I
can
didn't know
say
you
it.
can
Of course
say
we are.
that. I thought that sort of triggered interest in the work that I'd done.
Yeah.
And this is just kind of, rolled on from there. And a label called Cherry Red do special collector's editions.
Yeah.
With extra mixes and a DVD of the videos enclosed.
So we are going to get things with this that we never got first time round.
Oh yeah, there'll be like rare mixes by Frankie Knuckles of Love Train, and there'll be the PWL mix of Americanos, and there are mixes that you've never heard before, and of course the videos have never been on anything but VHS tape, so it's nice to see them in the digital format.
Any new material in the pipeline then? Do you think you'll make some fresh music?
Well, I'm dying to make some fresh music. I wrote a new song last week, and I've got other songs that I've collected over the years, but you can't seem to compete with your past. So I'm waiting for this and subsequent reissues that are coming. So when that's all out of the way, hopefully I'll use this time to record some new material, and hopefully next year. And I'd also love to do some live things as well, like to celebrate, the whole thing.
Well, let me let you pick another track then off the album for us to finish this interview with, Holly. Which one would you like me to play?
Of course, you could play Love Train with the blinding Brian May solo, or Atomic City.
Let's play the album all the way through.
Yeah,
why not?
I'm going to let you choose, Steve.
Blast the reissue with the DVD of the videos that you never got before. Good luck with the re-release. And keep in touch with us. Let us know when you're coming up north.
Thank you. That's really nice of you, Steve.